Great to have you join us on the Talking Point segment of Rise and Shine. And this morning, we're going to be looking at a topical issue, and it affects every one of us. It affects you, it affects me, and Nigeria generally. I'm talking about the fuel scarcity issue. And we already have my guest seated in the studio right now, and I'm talking about none other than the senior special assistant to the governor of Akwa Ibom State on petroleum matters. I'm talking about none other than Victor Tafia. So you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Very well then. Let's jump right into it. First, scarcity has been on the front burner of almost every Nigerian and almost every Akwa Ibomite because somehow it affects our businesses, it affects transportation, and cost of these things also. So let's jump right into it. First of all, we heard the NNPC through its boss uh, Kerry did say that the issue initially was the fact that bad petroleum was brought into the country, and that in itself affected the distribution. And thoughts far, we've seen that that played out for a while, and then they said they brought other, volume of petrol back into the country to help sustain the flow, or rather, the supply of petrol. But we still see scarcity. What do you think is the reason for that?
Well, it cannot be overnight. Scarcity is something that is a process. If it happens in Lagos, the spillover effect will go down the trend. So, what is you are seeing now is that effect. What actually happened was that the volume that we had that at the last quarter of last year
Mm.
supposed to sustain us till March this year. And then the first importation that's supposed to have arrived was exactly the one that was contaminated. And then to withheld or withhold or withdrawn that particular product from the system, it requires another product coming in to replace the one that has been withdrawn. And so within the period, there will be some issues of this scarcity you are talking about.
Mm.
It's not just overnight. They're what we could look at it as a kind of a remote problem.
What problem?
Yes, was the contaminated product that was brought into the system from Belgium by Dick Oil. And then it was found to have had over 20% methanol in it, which is off spec in our own system. Though that could be used in another climate, another weather environment. But in Nigerian spec, we only have about 5% of that. But this one was analyzed forensically to understand that it was over 20% in it. That was why a lot of cars, a lot of machines had problems during that period. And so withdrawing that particular product from the system and coupled with the fact that 99% of the products consumed in the country are all imported fuel. So it requires another process of bringing in the product to replace that. So that is what could have been the remote causes of the problem. But the immediate now that is trying to look as if it is sustaining is this crisis between Russia and Ukraine. And fuel is not a local, it's not operating locally. It's a global phenomenon. And then if it affects anyway, it goes around the chain. It's a global crisis. So, but hopefully the NMPC they do everything to resolve it.
Okay. Now let's look at one of the key issues here: the fact that it was contaminated and it was still brought into the country. Now I want to find out: are there no mechanisms being put in place to check?
Yes, that is, Nigeria is a terrible country. It's a kind of environment that anything can happen. I think it is a total negligence on the part of the midstream, Nigerian midstream, downstream, Petroleum Regulatory Agency, that is the DPR. It was a complete negligence of their responsibility because ordinarily, all those oversight activities must have been carried out before you allow that product to have find its way on the system. But unfortunately, it is only Nigeria that those kind of things can happen. It's unfortunate. So I don't know if the government is very serious. If they are serious, I think those involved should be brought to book.
Yeah, because it's one thing for them to admit a fault, it's another thing for them to dance to the tune.
NNPC admitted that the fault is from them. A lot of people, a lot of independent marketers had issues. Some ran into heavy losses. It's unfortunate, and even till today, you don't even know who you should hold responsible. It's a confused system. It's unfortunate this government that promised Nigeria that this thing will be a thing of the past. At least if they had their way, fuel would be sold at 40 naira. But this is perhaps the worst experience that we're having in the sector.
Okay, now moving away from that, you did make mention of, and which is true too, that we mostly import our fuel. And if memory serves us right, we have refineries here in Nigeria. So where is the lacuna here when it comes to production and supply of petroleum products in Nigeria by ourselves? That's the part I want you to clarify.
Well, if your refineries are not functioning, so what do? You resort to what they are doing. The problem will continue. I wish it would not be vicious because as far as the system goes the way we are going, we don't see any green light because in as much as the NNPC remained the sole importer, in as much as the laws guiding the operation of these activities in the country is still so, and in as much as we don't remove, the Nigerian government does not remove themselves from this kind of nonsense, let me put it that way. I sympathize with the system, and maybe the Nigerian Labour Congress or the TUC, and then they themselves should sit down and advise themselves properly until the so-called subsidy, until the system is liberalized. I don't think we will get out of this problem if we continue to sustain this kind of monopoly by one person, and with this cake laws that is covering the activities. I don't think we will get out of this problem.
Okay, so you're looking at the space being open to everybody else to be able to
this is not
offer the same services.
Business. This is not in the Nigerian market. We are talking as of today. It's moving to 130 barrel per dollar. So why are you deceiving yourself? Can you do it? Is government a good businessman? The answer is no.
But at the point, I thought NNPC had been, made to become a limited liability company.
They have suspended it. The act that was supposed to be operational because of the NLC threatened them. It threatened the system, and the system seemed so confused. So they had to give up. But it's not the best way.
And interestingly, we have had the federal government keep saying things about revamping the refineries
Even
and
if
money
it
is
is,
earmarked for that.
of
How
course,
far with
if
that?
it is refarmed and then put it as a public liability company and put it for use, sell it out, better. But in as much as the same wine in the same bottle, and then you think it will change, I don't think. We are looking at a situation where the system is liberalized. And then when you liberalized the system, like telecommunication, investors will come in. And then the business will be highly competitive. In the process of competition, the market forces determine itself. And then Nigerians do a kind of oversight activities. You control some mechanism, not to allow it to get out of hand.
Yeah, talking about letting things go out of hand. I think right now the market forces are the ones controlling the fuel prices right now.
No, there must be some certain percentage of supervision in it. Not the one you are taking it as a businessman, not the one you are seeing it as a right that government should subsidize. Government must do this. And they will bring the poor at the center. We are talking about the poor, the less privileged, but in the re-evaluation, analysis, the logic governing the business, the poor, is not there. But it is the poor that are being used to be doing all these things we are seeing in the system. Take, for instance, as I'm coming from Uyo to this place, I think it's about 25 minutes to drive because of the route. I'm consuming an average of 30, 40 liters of fuel. In fact, the speaker or the Senate president or to come here, if I am to buy it at 300 naira per liter, then I'm coming here with maybe 20 liters. That is 6,000 naira. And then this product, government is subsidizing, I'm paying 4,000. What I'm benefiting is only 2,000. Call the same people that are talking for the masses to come here on this program. They will come here with maybe 5 vehicles, with their aids and everything. And so by the time they come here, they will come here maybe 50 liters per vehicle. Calculate 300 times 50. That is about 15,000. And then they're supposed to have paid maybe 9,000 naira or 10,000. Government is subsidizing almost 6,000 naira for them. So who is benefiting from subsidy? Is it the poor or the rich?
All right, we'll come back to that subsidy conversation. And just so you know, this conversation is live on social media, on Facebook and Instagram with the handle at SpectrumTVNG, and the website is www.spectrumtv.ng. We'll take a break right now, and when we come back, we'll look at subsidy and how it affects the common man. Please stay. Follow Spectrum TV everywhere you go, on your Android and your iOS devices. Join our social media community. Like us, follow us, share, comment on our post, and let's get interactive. And do well to visit our website at www.spectrumtv.ng. Now you have no excuse not to be connected to the first privately owned television station in the Aqua Cross region. Spectrum Television. Broadening your horizon. You're welcome back. Talking about subsidy, of course, with reference to fuel scarcity. We're going to be jumping into that subject matter right now. I still have in the studio with me the SSA to the governor on Petroleum matters side, Victor Tefia, and he has been doing justice to the subject matter, and we'll just continue this conversation real quickly. Now, so before the break, you already started that conversation, subsidy. Now, school of thoughts, a lot of school of thoughts abound with reference to subsidy. In fact, majorly, Nigerians do not want subsidy to go. Majorly. But another school of thought is of the opinion that subsidy should go so that Nigerians can have the power, so to speak. Where's your own point of view with this?
No, well, if the Nigerians say subsidy should not go, no problem. But they are creating a platform for people to be billionaires overnight. Because if you look at the fraudulent activities that is going on in the name of subsidy, you cry for this country. What are you subsidizing? And then the Nigerian government, on the other hand, should be able to educate the masses, educate the people to understand what this thing is all about. Let's take, for instance, why am I here? If this system was not liberalized, I wouldn't have been here. I should go to TV. Is that not so? I should go to NTA. And then we'll be queuing there. 50 people will be looking for a slot to have a say on NTA. But because this system was liberalized, licenses were issued to people. You have the channel television, you have the Arise television, you have all this television. It's as a result of the system being liberalized. And then you see competition. A program that is supposed to charge 50,000 because another person is ready to take 30,000. The other one is ready to take 25. This one is ready to take 20. The other one. Then you now work on the quality of the program. You look at the audience that normally have views about that program. You go to that one. That is exactly what will be obtainable if the system is liberalized. Take, for instance, NNPC is the sole importer. They monopolize the system. They bring in contaminated products. And nobody is there to even check what. They themselves, they are the DPR, they themselves are the NNPC, they themselves are the PPMC. They are all themselves alone. There's no challenge, nothing anywhere. And then, how could you bring in a contaminated product in a system without doing the necessary checks, without carrying out forensic analysis to see, we know our spec. How do you bring in off-spec to a system that has been in it since 1960? It's unfortunate we continue to be talking on these kind of things, and then Nigeria find themselves in a vicious circle in the name of leadership. It's unfortunate. This is perhaps the worst era. As of today, AGO, you are not talking about, you are not going to that area. It's 650 naira per liter. And then for you to run this environment with diesel, I think a lot of business concern will be off the air because of what is happening. You can't meet up. So come out with laws. Liberalize the system. DP are supposed to be embarking on oversight function like quality control. Not sitting down in the office exchanging papers from morning till night, from 1st January to end of January, and you go home with over 751 million naira salary. They are just deceiving. If you see what is happening in that, their wage bill, NNPC wage bill at the end of the month, you sympathize with this country. So Nigeria require unbundle that system, liberalize the system, and then allow competitors to come in. Look at when the government of Obasanjo took a bold stand on this telecommunication. What is happening today? For you to own a line at the starting point, to own a line and the phone then was about 250 to 300,000 naira. But today the same SIM card that was sold at 100 and something thousand is free because of competition. It is either you go through Airtel or MTN or any other line. But here you have only one source, and everybody is queuing for that source. Everybody is expecting Nigerian government to do everything for them. The only thing that an average Nigerian doesn't want is to impregnate his wife for him. But every other thing you have to do for Nigeria. So it's unfortunate. As long as we continue with the subsidy, of course, NNPC told the world that they need 3 trillion naira in a year to sustain the subsidy. Where do you get that kind of money? Today, ASU is on strike. Today, infrastructural development in the country, you know where we are. Health sector, we know where we are. And so if you continue to carry 3 trillion and subsidize in just one sector. Why can't you take the 3 trillion and share on family? We are about 200 million people. If I had the 3 trillion by 200 people, you'd see that somebody will have something in his hand better than what we are seeing now. So we don't understand where we are going. So subsidy should go. But the government should be able to let Nigerians understand the template, come out with the blueprint of subsidy. It should not be a firebrand approach. You don't just say, wake up to talk of subsidy. It should be a kind of a blueprint. And I always advocate a kind of incremental policy.
Yeah, I was going to come there because I remember the last time we had you on the show.
I mentioned that. Come by phases. Phase one,
phase two.
I want to do this. We have a problem in the health sector. We have a problem in the infrastructural development. We have a problem in the education sector. If I am taking out this money as subsidy and withdrawing from the system, I will make sure I handle the education sector. Phase one, out of the 350 naira we're supposed to buy, I will take out 150 naira. Then government will subsidize only 200 naira. And then we all understand we are on the same page. And then we see the effect of this 150 naira in the education sector. It is you and I would say, government, go to the second phase and take off the 100 naira. Let us remain one. Then by the time the 100 naira effect is being felt at the health sector, we definitely will move to another sector. And then gradually, you pull out the system. But what we were experiencing before we ran into this crisis was a kind of price manipulation by the NNPC in the name of withdrawal of subsidy. And then we are down hooked somewhere. That is the problem we find ourselves now.
I remember the federal government, they come up one time to say it was going to give out 5,000 naira to...
That was absolute nonsense. Don't think that is a very hopeless policy. What is the statistic? How do you identify the poor people? In this old one we are sitting down, how many people collect that money? It's just creating a window for somebody to defraud the country in the name of giving 5,000 to families. It's one of the worst policy that I don't think any rational government would implement.
Okay, now moving away from that real quickly, let's look at a report that was shared 2 days ago on a daily, which say that the federal government has done a whole lot to reduce fuel scarcity, especially in some particular states, and Akwa Ibom was mentioned as one of the states.
Of course, the Akwa Ibom should be mentioned. I deserve to be
in the news,
given the award because it has to do with capacity. It has to be with a very high thinking.
So how was that achieved?
It has to understand the prowess of what is going on. You see, some states in Nigeria will be foolishly to say, don't sell above pump price. If you are not ready to sell 165, don't bring. And they set all sort of task force and cause confusion. Are you dealing with your staff? You are dealing with businessmen. Business, what keeps a man in business is profit. Where there's no profit, he fools up that thing and go away. And so what we do in Akwa Ibom, we know from the start that Akwa Ibom is locationally disadvantaged. We don't have PPMC depot, we don't have refinery, we don't have anything. 2, in Akwa Ibom, we are not a state like a Cross River state. We are not a state like River State. Why am I saying so? Cross River State, just the Calabar municipality, you have the majors, the credit marketers like Ohando, Total, Corn Oil, and so on and so on. There are about 7 major marketers that has been in Cross River State for the past 30 years. Some has up to 4 stations in that area, and they are all credit marketers. So the little product that comes to PPMC depot in Calabar, since they are credit marketers, the product will first go there. And then we have almost 90% of independent marketers in Akwa Ibom State. So the few Total and Mobile that are here are equally classified as a location that are not catchment, outside the catchment area. They group us maybe B class, even though we are part of the depot. And so when that one comes, maybe in a week, they will have just 1 truck. And 1 truck cannot take care. And so the independent marketers who had already signed agreement with the federal government to have 15 trucks in a month, You hardly can have even one truck in 6 months. And so the secondary market, which is the PPMC depot, the products are not there for you to take. You resort to the secondary market, which is the private depot. And the price in private depot is not the same with that of the NNPC depot. So there are two classifications, the primary source and the secondary source. The secondary source is in private depots, and the primary source is NNPC depot. So where you cannot have product from the primary source, you resort to secondary source. And the secondary source are not the same price. So what I do as an independent marketer of over 25 years standing, I would encourage them to bring the product. For instance, if in a Tiku or back road, 10 station brings in the product, within 10 of them they will start competition, and then the price will crash. Okay. But if you say don't sell, don't bring, nobody will bring from a back road, or nobody from bringing from Ikotek Benin Road, and then the whole Ikotek Benin Road will be seriously affected. The one person that will bring will now carry the price to 250. Sometimes he will not even sell. In the evening, he will sell to the black marketers. As at today, Akwa said it's the only state in the federation that you don't notice the influence of black marketers in this business. It's just because of my synergy with the independent marketers and the way I carry out my operational activities in terms of monitoring. That is why you see they can call, say, oh, there's no scarcity there. It's just a matter of a man knowing what he is doing.
Okay, now, well done, by the way. Let's move to the pricing.
Okay.
This in itself, to a large extent, we're having people sell above pump price.
Of course. Scarcity is just one of the things that even if once it takes place, you definitely is completely out of control. All what you need to do is to apply managerial prowess to see how you can stabilize, you can stem the tide. But if you don't know how to apply it, you overheat the system. For instance, last Sunday before last, I was in Rivers State. We had a function that we represented the government of Akwa Ibom State in Rivers State. When we got there, we decided that we should buy. It was even the SSG that bought it, 220 per liter. He asked me, how do you manage? We are buying 200. I said, because in River State, you will see Boy Scout, Girl Scout, all the sub group doing monitoring. And so marketers wouldn't buy from the secondary market. They will wait for the primary market. And in the course of waiting for the primary market, the market is going up. The price is going up. And goes up to 250, 230, 210. It is only this week that we are trying to witness some major crisis because I am yet to secure a reasonable quantity for the state. I am still liaising with the Port Harcourt Rivers and some few private depots in Calabar to see if I can secure a volume. But the greatest problem we are facing now is diesel. Because diesel, a very good diesel is about 620 naira per liter. Because that one had already been liberalized. The subsidy had already been withdrawn from diesel. So having a truck of products from Calabar to you now is about 250,000 naira transport compared to 120, 130 we were paying. So if you pay at that amount, definitely it will go down the chain. The price will come up. So these are problems we are facing. But this week is unfortunate. We are trying to see where I can secure a volume for the state.
Aviation fuel was another issue, which increased, which of course increased.
It's part of
fares.
the growth now.
Yes, I'm aware.
And that one is, aviation sector, they are threatening to down tools because the high cost of aviation fuel. They are not making it. Even 15,000 naira from Oyo to Abuja, put all together, you still cannot meet up with the high cost of aviation fuel. It's just like diesel. Diesel is 620 naira as of today in the market. And so if you buy 620, definitely you will sell between 650 and 700. And then you calculate that. into the capital and then look at the profit margin, the line, definitely it will affect a lot of things. So I wish the government should intervene. But within the period in question, government hands are tied. As far as this crisis in Ukraine and Russia is continuing, I don't see that possibility because it has affected the waterways, it has affected the aviation sector. A lot of things are not in a normal mood. That is the problem.
Okay, just before I let you go, from your wealth of experience in the industry, what will be your final words to the federal government with reference to handling some of these peculiar challenges that are in the petroleum industry?
No, the federal, you see, government doesn't dance to the gallery. If you dance to the gallery, you are bound to be having all this problem. APC government telling the world that they have suspended the act for 18 months, to me, is a window to escape. You have been in the saddle for almost 7 years now. You cannot take a why. The last almost 1 year to go, you are going into a very sensitive sector like withdrawal of subsidy. So they are not serious. If government is serious, you don't dance to the gallery. You don't look at election. You don't look at party. You look at the people. You look at what will be the best for your people. And then take a stand. When President Obasanjo took a stand on telecommunication, you know a lot of people were affected. But today we are enjoying. I can call London. I can call anywhere as I'm sitting down here. Compared to the time 20 people will kill in the night. They will walk and call your house. The phone will be okay. From night to your house, the line is off. And it was a kind of a decimal. People were so traumatized. But President Obasanjo took a very hard stand. So we need somebody that will be ready to close his eye. Look at how the laws of the land was killed to favor a section of the country. You can't buy petrol in Sokoto 165 naira, and you buy the same petrol here in a Kwaibum 165 naira. Is that possible? It's practically impossible. And then people that are selling the petrol here in Kwaibum are paying petroleum equalization funds to their fellow marketers in the north. A marketer in the north that takes a petrol, one truck from PPMC depot in Calabar is paying an equalization fund of 650 to 700,000 naira to enable him sell the same 165. Is that how a business should be done? So government should advise themselves properly and take a hard stand. Come out with a blueprint. Look at the Babankida's deregulation policy. Where he fell, you improve from there. Than to jettison all known theories in deregulation and adopt a kind of price manipulated deregulation and then put Nigeria into where we are today. So I'm advising the federal government to consider a holistic blueprint that will be in first arrangement in terms of this withdrawal of subsidy. Take it holistically with embedded mechanism to cushion the effect for a period of maybe 5-6 years. And then start the program and let everybody be on the same page. Then we can reduce this problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Thank you for sharing your thoughts as well. And I believe when we call on you next time, you would oblige us the opportunity. Yeah?
Thank you.
Very well then. In case you're just joining in, well, you missed a whole lot of conversation here, but then this conversation is on our Facebook page. And Facebook, yes, and of course on Instagram with the handle at SpectrumTVNG. And the website is www.spectrumtv.ng. We have been playing host to the SSA to Kwabam State Government Petroleum Matters, person of Sir Victor Tefia. Follow Spectrum TV everywhere you go, on your Android and your iOS devices. Join our social media community.
Like us, follow us, share, comment on our post, and let's get interactive. And do well to visit our website at www.SpectrumTv.ng. Now you have no excuse not to be connected to the first privately owned television station in the Aqua Cross region. Spectrum Television. Broadening your horizon.